What's going on, traders? Just two trades today. Could have been a better day, but it was still a pretty good day. We'll start here on FSR. This is where we started. Started this one just a tad early. You can see previous resistance all the way down here at 630. Made a pretty good move here at the bell, but it started to get fast up into around 7. Felt like it didn't want to get through 7. Actually hit this on the way down, 694. Took it smaller size because I wasn't necessarily feeling it. It wasn't super fast, and it wasn't really moving the way that I would like. So normally I was looking for 200 shares up through 700, or $707, but we couldn't get there. So I started at half size just in case we finally did get that move through. I could add that other 100. So that's exactly what it ended up doing. I ended up adding another 100 up here at 713, and then it just decided to keep going. It was kind of a squeeze. It was going straight up. So I wasn't afraid to add some more size to it. It wasn't really like down here. It was kind of like bid, ask, bid, ask, bid, ask. But when it got to here, it was really just ask, 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 ask. So that's actually what we like to see. So I wasn't afraid to start adding the size into it. So this actually ended up turning into a 1, 1, 2, 4. So we did 100, 100, 200, 400 up here. And it actually would have been great. I hit my 0.5R button, which would have been around $68 instead of the 25 that we made, had I just left my initial order, which I did put out at 718. Unfortunately, it came down to 720, started to kind of bounce, started to come back up, and we actually ended up taking off half at 725. Our average was actually at 727. So this was basically break even on these shares. But then as you can see, we did get that move down towards 710 actually, and we would have gotten our fills at 718 had we just left it there. But I really didn't want to let this pop all the way down to 720 and then all the way back up to high of day, making this a bigger loss. You know, I mean, it wouldn't have been a bigger loss. It would have been like $120, $130 or whatnot. But just a little frustrating that we couldn't get that move down to 718 originally. It had to play around with us, and we ended up kind of losing out on a little bit of profit there. So it worked out. As you can see, this thing was a little bit whippy. Right after we got out, this thing did shoot all the way back up 734, tried to go back up through the highs, and then ultimately it did end up getting slammed down. So frustrating, but not going to complain. It worked out. And we also did run out of shares as well. I actually added these 400 shares, and then literally like 10 seconds later, we were out of shares. So that was kind of another thing, is I knew that we were pretty low on shares, so I couldn't add anymore if it did want to continue. But thankfully we did get the pullback. Over to LLAP, which was our other trade on the day. And this one made a really good initial move. Scroll out, you can see previous resistance from high of day on Friday was 294 area. It did have some other areas there from the pre-market, and that was actually what ended up trying to hold up a little bit. But as we scroll back over, you're going to see the nice initial move. We end up getting short there at 313. We actually had put this order out 400 shares. It actually went up to what, 318, almost 319. And we put our take profit out at 301. I believe I hit the cover all 50 button, and it put us right at 3. And I was like, well, let me just front run that by a penny. I'll be happy with, you know, the 48 bucks or whatever it gives me. And it got to 304 and just couldn't quite get there. And then it shot back up to the highs. So at this point, not really happy with the trade. Wasn't looking to add. If we look at the daily, I drew a line here at 363. Pretty obvious touch points here. If we scroll back, it's a little bit more obvious. You can see it there. And that's kind of what I was going off of. I wanted to make sure I had room up to that area. So I wasn't adding throughout here. It was more so like, if it wants to find a top and then I can try to find a backside entry, I will. But I want to give myself room to 360 if need be, because that looks like a really good area on the daily for a pullback. So tried to go high of day again, failed here, tried again here and failed. And this is when we hit it on the way down. I got filled at 325, brought our average up to, I believe it was 319. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. Comes down. Our cover 50 button actually put us at 313. We had 800 shares at this point, so I put 700 of them out there, and we got that fill on the way down. It tried to pop back up and then ultimately started to come back down. I put the 50 out at, I think it was like 304. I got the 306, didn't really want to quite get there. So right when I saw it trying to get back up through 310, I just took 50 more off. It did get back up through, but then ultimately ended up dying. And I had an order out at 297 on this candle, and it went to 298 on the break of 3. And so when it started to go back up, I just took it off and we got 302. As you can see, the next candle, it did eventually get down there, but So that one actually ended up working out, made a little bit more than we would have originally, but we did have to go through a little bit of waiting in a trade that we weren't necessarily too happy with when it started to kind of grind higher. So $81, not too bad for two trades. Could have been 111 or 110, $120 had FSR worked out and we kind of stayed to our plan there, but it's not that big of a deal. Not going to complain about being green. We're always going to take it and move forward. With that said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. Have some exciting news coming possibly tomorrow, but definitely, if not tomorrow, on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully, you guys aren't mad at me for the news. And hopefully, you support me. And we'll see. Till then, Discord, Twitter, those links are in the description as well. See you tomorrow. Peace.